Welcome to my little visitor's view program about my visit to the Acres USA conference. It's essentially a series of photographs taken, and I'll try to give you some dialogue to let you know what was happening in each case. I'm Rex Harrill. I was a small farmer there in Maryland, but I am now retired, and I'm wintering in Florida, but I did go up to Acres. Fred Walters asked me to come up and talk a little bit about bricks, my favorite subject, which has to do with plant quality. While there, I did make these photos, and I thought you'd like to hear a little what the story is behind them. Acres is more than just the 3-day main conference. Several days prior to that, you have EcoAg University meeting, and there you can get into some rather expensive, hands-on, deep, intensive workshops that bring you together with actually some of the foremost names in the world about biologically correct agriculture. The one you're looking at here has to do with Vinnie Pinto and Matthew Wood presenting a program on EM, or effective microorganisms, which is a way of getting some soil life back into some dead soils. Such a way you can detoxify the soil and get a whole lot more plant food available. Well, what do we have here under wraps? Not much, really. It's just the books for the Acres organization, and they like to keep them this way until they have a formal opening, and then that way everybody gets a fair chance at the books. This is the free literature table. We'll revisit this spot later on. People from various places bring their literature, what they're interested in, to share it with the world. So we'll see this table loaded down when we next look. The trade show is a major part of an Acres conference. You have vendors, in this case probably 60 to 70 of them, who set up booths and who try to educate people on what they have to sell, but more importantly what they have to offer as far as a clean, healthy, biologically correct agriculture. Although over 600 people had pre-registered for this show, there'll be several hundred, probably it'll total up close to 1,000 before the show is finished, who come in and register, sometimes for a single day, but mostly for the whole show. They just didn't pre-register. There are lectures going on in various halls, and there's a schedule. You're actually given a booklet, and there are schedule placards set up to let you know who's talking about what, when, and where. It's almost impossible to catch every presentation, so you just have to portion your time and do the best you can do. Even as the main lectures are going on, there are consulting rooms that might have a particular consultant set up with 10 or 20 or 30 people, or as many as want to come, and he will sit there and get deep into whatever it is that his audience wants to know about. It's the ultimate Q&A time. Early in the mornings and during the noon breaks, the Acres staff works hard to keep this audio-visual equipment up and running and doing just right, so that these messages can get out exactly as their presenters want them out. Acres maintains a vast array of audio tapes and CDs, and they've got the technology down pretty good. In most cases, they will have these lectures on tape or CD very soon after they're presented and ready for sale, so that people can take them home as they leave. We'll now have a few views of the book tables. There are books here I don't know that you'll find anywhere else. An interesting thing about an ACRES conference is that there's also hundreds of mini conferences going on. Quite often you'll spot somebody you know talking to somebody you'd like to know. So you just kind of saddle over and stand there, and pretty soon you've made a new friend or a new contact, somebody that can help you with some special aspect of your farming operation. The trade show will continue for a total of about 22 hours spread over 3 days. And there's just no describing the trade show. There's every aspect of earth-friendly farming and agriculture that you can imagine. So you'll see maybe 24 pictures in here of the trade show, and hopefully you can read in the background enough to know if things are interesting to you or not. Right in the center of this picture is my good friend Benny Pinto, who loves to sneak into all my photographs. So I started to Photoshop him out, and then I said, nah, we'll let him stay in for a while. You'll notice sometimes the trade show aisles are crowded, other times they're empty. This merely has to do with whether a lecture is in progress or not. That depends on how many people want to go see that particular lecture. This is one of the many consultant workshops going on. Gary Zimmer here, who's famous as the fellow that got so excited he fell off the stage a couple of years ago, is here very strongly emphasizing the need for proper calcium levels in soil. Bruce Tainio is a popular speaker every year, or every time he comes to Acres. And of course he always has a couple of astounding statements, and this year was no exception, but he seemed to prove his case. Just like in high school, when the lecture hall's empty, the hallways crowd. You can see that there's a certain excitement that goes on here. People are learning things they just weren't sure they'd have a chance to learn. Indianapolis surprised us with a little quickie 5 or 6 or 7 inch snowstorm. Surprised me most of all because I came up from Florida for this event. The video theater runs films almost continuously, films collected from around the world, and it's a great stopping off spot when you're between lectures or you spot something on the program that you say, I need to see that. Well, it's not all work for the staff and speakers. They do have, Acres throws a little party for them so that you get a little socialization, and they feed you well, there's no doubt about it. This is Dr. Dan Scow from Minnesota, who is a fairly well-known veterinarian who I've worked with a good bit about plant quality. He finds that to be every bit as interesting as I do. And like me, he had to portion his time, so he has to study the charts to let you know which class is being held where. I mentioned that free literature table earlier. Showed you a couple pictures. Here it is a day or so later, and it's loaded with materials. Now these materials will disappear over a period of hours, and miraculously they'll be replenished by somebody who again has a message they're trying to get out. Much of the going on here is videotaped, and in this case we got a picture of the man doing the videotaping. Make him famous too. Dr. Richard Ulrich came in and talked about genetics, and in particular how having the right trace elements in your soils can keep your genetic code as strong as it possibly can be. Everything comes to an end, and the Acres Conference is no exception. Here's your cleanup crew working hard to put things together, and they're very fast. This happens in a matter of minutes, it seems like, as soon as the trade show is over. When it's over, it's over. The book tables are no exception. Those books, the unsold books, have to be packed up and returned to Austin, Texas, and they'll be mail ordered out for the next year until people come together again for their Acres Conference. Right to the very last moment, people arrive at the book table, though, to get those last-minute tapes and CDs that they need, and they want to take home with them, and rather than have it sent by mail later. Yes, the editor does have to work too. Here you see him helping box up and load up books by the ton to get them shipped back to the warehouse. I may have mentioned that a few people have to leave as early as Saturday afternoon to get going, but most people leave on Sunday morning. In this case, it's pre-dawn, and they're trying to get back to the airport so they can scatter back to states and other countries, and of course most of them will be waiting for next year too. I hope you enjoyed the little tour. Maybe I'll see you next year. I hope to be there too.